the pie chart here, of course, the biggest distribution is yellow, which is NRM. Dr. Besigye also here with his own distribution. Many of the other candidates just sharing the 3% there with Bariam Labour there. Mbabazi, who was, like I told you, rejected. Mabidizi, who accepted the result. And Bwanika, who said he will be releasing his statement on Monday. Talking to some people, they say probably the person who should be celebrating this election is Bwanika. With every election, he keeps getting his support up there.
Indeed, if we have to go by the same projection, one would expect maybe Bwanika, if he continues with this kind of projection, he will be certainly president of Uganda maybe in 2068. But you see, even then, I don't know how old he will be in 2068. So I think that eligible. Absolutely. So you can't say he should be celebrating this because of that growth he's getting. He's certainly getting a decimal increment to his percentage point as opposed to an exponential increment to his position. But one thing is for sure, that consistency maybe could pay off, but certainly not in the near future. All
right, those are some of the figures. We'll be running later, different reactions from different candidates, especially presidential candidates. We have reactions from Amama Mbabazi. We'll also be running some of those pictures from General Biraro and the rest. But Simon will be joining the panel to talk more on these numbers. What caused these surges? Also, the other debating point has been about currently the number of polling stations that have been declared. Say there's about 1,000 polling stations whose results are not yet there. If those stations bring in their results, would that change the turnout? If you can look here on the screen, 1,787 polling stations have not brought in those results, which accounts for 6% of the tallied votes. The tallied votes, if you look at, yes, 26,223. If this came in, do you think it would change the result of the election?
Then you see, you're preempting the discussion that I should be having with my panel. Never mind the fact that the chairman of the Electoral Commission did say in his remarks before announcing the result, after announcing the result, that even if this pending demographic came in and all the votes were predominantly for the runner-up, it certainly would not make him the front runner. He would still remain a runner-up, but with a good and improved percentage. Right. If it were given to the winner, obviously that would mean an increment on their side. So, but then of course, when I go down to my panel, which is comprising of researchers in their own right, one of them is Dr. Patrick Wakida, who runs the research outfit Research World International. You remember that weeks before the poll, he did release his opinion poll, which placed President Museveni at somewhere between around 56% of the poll, and he tells me his poll had a margin of error of ±5. So if you get 56 plus 5, then you get the 61, which is close to what he got of 60.75. The other member of the panel is Frederick Global MTV, who is an independent research and analyst. And then, of course, I've got Dr. Gerard Kareja, who is a lecturer of public administration and Dean of School of Management Science at the Uganda Management Institute. So I bet that it's only important that we join this panel and then try to make sense of these numbers.
All right.
Let's get down to the panel. So good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to the program. I'll start with Frederick, who is normally very quiet and contemplative and all that. What is it that now you have to throw on the table in terms of your general outlook to this result? When it hit you at 4 p.m. today, closing into 4 p.m. today, did the numbers surprise you, or you saw this coming in the last 24 hours, so to speak?
The numbers did not hit me. I wasn't surprised. They struck me as very much in keeping with most of the polls that were conducted prior to the campaigns, during the campaigns. Many polls put President Museveni more or less around the 60% figure. Slightly less, slightly more.
Well, of course, there was this notorious one that gave him about 71%.
Yeah, that was